Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhakta Vrindam.
Good day, Haribol Namaste. Welcome to this Thursday Yoga Talk. I am Nefai de la Serna of Philippine Yoga Academy, and this show is all about yoga under the sun and beyond. This show is aimed to bring you all about yoga from its philosophy and practices that will help you and assist you through your yoga journey. This afternoon, I am very thrilled and very excited because I have a very special guest. I've known him for very long time when I always go to Bohol for a visit. And few things that I know about him is he's working in a non-government peace advocacy organization. And he is the man of full of respect. He's a man of virtues, full of love and compassion, and a prime mover. So without further ado, I bring you my guest this afternoon, no other than Mr. Ludwig Quirog. Hello!
Hi, namaste, Haribol.
Namaste. How are you?
Oh, it's great to be here. I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprisingly full of energy today.
Wow. Good.
So of course, I'm saying surprisingly because it's supposed to be nap time.
Wow.
1:30 in the afternoon. There's supposed to be a mandatory 30-minute nap, but I'm not doing that today because I would rather be here.
Wow.
So.
So I can feel actually that energy of yours. So Ludwig, let's get started. What you do and whom do you it for?
So I am a vegan chef, and I do it for my community. My community, I'm not just saying the people that I know, but the people that dwell in the surrounding areas, and also the people who come to visit, who sort of who I feel that they gain a connection to the place where I work at because of the food, and that really makes me happy. And then that kind of grows the family bigger, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I've
it's for
known
them.
you. Since I've known you, you've been serving us a lot of good food when I visit Bohol before.
Oh,
So so how did you started actually? How did you started to adhere this plant-based um, you know cooking for people in a you're vegetarian, right?
oh yes, I'm vegan.
So how
Yes.
did it started with the journey?
Uh, Journey of cooking for people or with myself.
Uh, you can start what whichever you like to share, which is how did it happen that you turn your being a vegan by yourself and share it to other people?
Okay, sure. Uh, so as you may remember, for a number of International Yoga Day celebrations with
Yes.
the Science of Identity Foundation, I would cook dinners for the prashadam meal after the uh, the yoga asanas and hatha yoga exercises, and
Yes.
it really made me feel happy to see other
Mm-hmm.
people enjoying my food and to see that uh, they feel energized and rejuvenated by the food. It's not just physical nourishment; it's also spiritual nourishment. And a big factor in in this is the fact that I was actually happy making the food. I cannot stress the importance of, having a positive energy while making the food. I always tell the staff at the restaurant, if you're not, happy doing what you're doing, at least for the time being, you can take a pause, you can stop, because it's going to affect other people when they eat. It's not just about, oh, it's bad food and therefore I get bad reviews. No, but it's about the karmic consequences of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, of eating. So,
Okay.
and that's why I digress back to prasadam after yoga day. It became an idea because I received a lot of good feedback, great feedback.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mm-hmm.
fact, you should create a restaurant, because I was usually serving at a hostel owned by a friend of mine, and it seemed like it could serve as the space for that, as an avenue for that. It was
Yeah.
a small shack back then. It wasn't really plausible, but I tossed the idea around in my head. I was like, you know what, I could do this for a living. I mean, I was
Yeah.
doing something else at that time,
Mm-hmm.
but why not, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's something I'm clearly passionate about. It's something that makes me happy. It's something that makes other people happy, and it's something that I heard that people were actually willing to pay for.
Yeah.
That I could actually turn into my life's work. Not to earn a great deal of profit for myself, but to allow myself to be able to be of service continually while living as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was an idea that was tossed around for about 4 years, until it came to fruition just last year, a little
Yeah.
over a year ago, which really made me happy. I got the opportunity after uh, coming back from Nepal, which was
Mm-hmm.
a great, great, great experience. I went there and I trained under two cooking tutors. So one of them
Wow.
was an Indian woman and one of them was a Nepali woman.
Wow.
And then I gained insight into the karma of food, and
Wow.
you know it gave me a greater understanding on the journey of the things that you put into your body
Mm-hmm.
past the moment that they enter your mouth, and you know how they nourish you. I got a few insights on uh, how Ayurvedic science works, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how I got into the restaurant business, which I fondly call like karma conscious cooking.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's very interesting to know actually that how you from that simple exposure and how it how it ignite your feeling towards cooking for other people, and now you have been meeting a lot of people to really put value more on why
oh
why
yeah,
you have prepared for them. So
that's true.
yeah,
The universe conspired, really. I felt like.
so how is it now, as if now that you have already known, okay, some of the sciences behind preparing food, how is it now, emanates, or what do you call that one, uh, transpired to others, or how it is manifesting now when you are preparing for other people in a larger scale.
Oh wow, it's. I don't have the words to explain. I'm just gonna describe it, I suppose. This thing when somebody takes, like, let's say, oh, I have it's clear in my head right now, the memory. There was this
Uh-uh.
woman. She was from somewhere in Eastern Europe, and they
Hmm.
had been living in Panglao. They were
Hmm.
free divers,
Yeah.
and they were instructing. They were teachers there, and they came to the restaurant at least twice a week, 3 times a week, in fact, at least 3 times a week, every week before pandemic. They're not here right now on the island. They have left to their home countries, which is sad. But when they were here, they would come very, very often. And what particularly struck me was when she took a spoonful of chana masala. I think that was chana masala, yeah,
Yeah.
chickpea masala.
Yeah.
And I knew that she wasn't a very big fan of chickpeas, I think. And then she
Yeah.
put it in her mouth, and then she closed her eyes, and then she leaned back on her chair. And then I
Wow.
could just, I saw the joy, and I was like, this is what I live for. And this is why I'm doing this, and this is why I'm going to continue doing this. And then it made me a little bit more conscious of that effect on other people. And
Mm.
then I started noticing it everywhere, in my guests, in the people that I was feeding. And
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes, if the kitchen wasn't super busy, I would take it a step further by uh, going to the tables and, oh,
Mm-hmm.
nice, going to the tables and talking to them, and I would see visibly how more positive their day was going, their evening was going after consuming that food. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the happiness,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that I kind of put into it. It's not, it's something that I share.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy making the food is happy. And I know you haven't asked this that yet, but it's it's important for me to ask two things before I cook something.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, like, where does the food come from?
Yep. That's
Yeah,
very important.
it's very important to me. Where does the food come from? Because okay, so this connects to the second question, which is how much harm did the food do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those two questions: where did it come from? How much harm did the food do? Um,
Mm-hmm.
Granting that I do not consume any animal derived food in the restaurant, it also already has a significant reduction in the harm caused because nothing is dying, nothing is
Yeah.
being taken forcibly, which is great. But there's a second factor. Uh, there's a second reason why I asked that is because, were the farmers treated well?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important. Were they happy?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any harmful synthetic chemicals that were used? And, you know, are the people who made this food actually living? The
Mm-hmm.
problem, especially in an impoverished agricultural society such as the Philippines, is a lot of us who are, of a certain level of privilege,
Okay.
enjoy uh, food without really thinking where it comes from. And a lot of people who produce the food, they're not able to really enjoy the same kind of nourishment themselves, even though the food comes from them. So I want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that I know the farm that the food comes from. I always do
Yeah.
my research, and I want to know if the people who grew the food are actually themselves eating. Are
Mm-hmm.
they living?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter so much to me to get the lowest price, but to get the
Mm-hmm.
fairest price. And that's, to me, important uh, to consider if I were to really and truly say that my food is karma positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So talking about that karma, the term karma that we have been saying. So how do you understand it and how do you know that about it? Can you explain to our viewers how is it for you to understand the word karma and how do you um put that sayings to your as a description to your food? How does it mean to you?
I don't actually describe karma on a regular basis to restaurant goers, but in this avenue, because I think that a lot of the viewers right now are uh, aware of what it is, so it's very easy for me to talk about it. So
Uh,
first is like when I talk to my staff, um, I had this discussion with them that we understand what karma is, and it's the law of cause and effect, basically. So what you
mhm,
do has a direct or indirect consequence, whether now or
mhm,
later, whether in this life or another. So for little things um, like food,
mhm,
it's not just your direct action, but the things that you don't see. For example, where was it grown?
mhm.
Uh, I don't want to be disparaging to people who have different choices in life, but I'm gonna use this as an example because
Yeah.
we're having
Yeah.
real talk here for
Yes, yes.
people who, let's say, who consume animal flesh. That's a
Okay.
very good example. Is it okay if I talk about that?
Yes, actually, this is what we are trying actually
No.
to tell people that there are certain principles and there are certain um, talk that we must delve into so that they will know why we are doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, that's
so
good
this
to
is
know.
this is very open to everyone because some people are asking us, why are you vegetarian? Why are you not eating meat when you practice yoga? So even if you're not practicing yoga, why did you advocate yourself to not consume animal produce? So
Yeah.
coming from your angle and coming from your experiences, so you can just freely open it up right
Okay.
now.
So, for example, for somebody who consumes meat, animal flesh, animal meat,
Yeah.
uh, okay, let's say that the chef who was making it was happy, or he was happy cooking and he was happy serving, and therefore the people eating, were happy. But
Yeah.
the journey of the food does not begin in the kitchen. It
Yeah.
begins in the growing. It begins, and a huge part of the karma that's contributed into the food is in the production of the food, as in
Mhm,
how did it turn into food when it wasn't food to begin with? You don't
mhm,
see a chicken running around and you say, oh, that's definitely already food. No, it's food when it's dead. And in order for it to die, you don't really wait for it to, live out its 10 years of life. You're going to kill it.
mhm,
And in the process of killing, the chicken feels pain, the chicken feels fear, the chicken
mhm,
feels all that negativity, and it does not leave the body of the chicken when you cook that. No matter how happy you were doing it, you're gonna take that into yourself, and
exactly.
because you did that, you have effectively participated in whatever it is that the, let's say, the guy, the
Mhm,
slaughterer, whatever it is that he did, you did that as well.
mhm.
Yeah, no matter how much you claim that, oh, the chicken lived a good life, or this pig lived a good life, it was free range, it was organic. The fact that you made a, not you, but
Mhm.
somebody made a decision that it was going to
Yeah.
be raised
Okay.
to be
But
killed and
yeah.
not allowed to live its full life, then that ultimately affects, your karma. So then you bring that, you carry that around with you, and then that's negative karma. There's also uh, there's also positive karma, of course.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a whole different thing. Sorry, I might have accidentally cut you off. You were gonna say something.
No, 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 no. I'm just listening to your to what you're saying about the karma and how actually the participation of all the people
Oh yeah,
into preparation of food. You can
yeah.
continue.
So, oh, it's not just, of course, it extends in all avenues of life. Karma is in everything. So every single good deed that you do, it also has karmic consequences. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
why good things are happening to you, well, probably because you've been, you know, inadvertently good. Even if you are consciously saying, oh, I'm gonna do this because I'm collecting good karma. Even if you don't do that, that you're still sort of creating a savings account for yourself. And it also works with that karma. If you keep doing it, then it adds up. It's cumulative. It never goes away because uh, in the Vedic principles, life is eternal. There is
Mm-hmm.
samsara. It's a
Mm-hmm.
cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So in samsara, it doesn't end in death. You know, you get reborn. You're not conscious about it, and oh, every single thing from all your lives, it's all there right now. So that's why a lot
Yeah.
of people ask, why was I born in this circumstance?
Yeah.
Why am I less fortunate or more fortunate than my neighbor? It's
Mm-hmm.
not something that you consider very much. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something that a lot of schools of thought give a lot of thought into. But you know, it just makes so much sense that you're carrying the burden or the fortune of your past selves, which doesn't
Exactly.
make it any less you. It's just
Yeah.
not something that you're not directly aware of, but it's very much there.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So that's actually one thing that people must understand, that in this world there is such law that govern us all. And one of that law is karma. And people sometimes they have this idea that karma is only bad, you know. They don't
yes,
they don't consider that karma is also a good karma, you know. And it from the very basic definition of karma, that action equals reaction.
that is
So
right. Yeah,
yeah. So whatever action that you do in this life or in your past life, it has an effect to your future life.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So going back to the preparation of food, yeah, that's actually one of the things that people don't understand, why the preparation of food and where the food is coming from is very very crucial when you serve it to people, because all of those
Oh, yeah.
entangled um, karmic reactions or karma that people put into during the execution of that activity is quite a lot of to take into. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. And one of the things that I do to sort of, oh, let's boost the good karma in the food that we serve, on the transport of the vegetables and the produce from the market to the restaurant, uh, there's just one thing that my head staff and I would do. We would enclose all the vegetables inside, and then we would actually play the Gayatri mantra for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because um, the food takes its energy from the sun, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
sort of an homage to the way that it grew. to the way that it was produced, that we use the Gayatri mantra, which is an ode to the sun. So basically, it's Om Bur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur
Mhm.
Varenyam Bhargo
Mhm.
Deva Syadimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. So uh, may we imbibe the wisdom of the effulgent sun, and may it inform everything we do. And
Mhm.
so it's kind of like, oh, let's give let's give the food some additional awesomeness. And
Yeah,
it's such a happy thing as well. And
agree.
while another thing, when we're cooking, we also play mantras sometimes, just in the kitchen,
Mhm.
just among, we're dancing to Krishna Govinda Hari Murari.
Yeah.
Sometimes um, we ask we get asked some questions from the
Mhm.
people who are, from customers asking us, oh, what is this? Uh, are you sectarian in that way? And we, no, no, this is a universal thing. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, doesn't it make you happy? And they say, yeah. And well, if it makes you happy and it's not really causing any harm, then it's awesome. And then they're like, oh, you know what? You're right.
So, what you are saying actually is, I can understand from the point of view that everything in this world, contained in this world, is all about energy, right? And
That's right.
one of the biggest source of energy that we can get is from the sun.
That's right.
Yeah? So,
Yeah.
having the sun, who is, giving all the energy from, especially from the plants, there's actually a big difference between getting the energy from the plants and
Hmm.
coming to the second consumer, which is the animals, right?
That's
So
right. Yes.
transfer of energy from plants to animals is, you as the third consumer will be a little less of that energy. Do you
That
agree?
is correct. That's correct. Yeah. That is
So,
definitely right. Yeah. That's very Ayurvedic, actually. That's what my teacher told me. That this and
that's that's one of the principles that I've lived actually, when I knew that um, that all the energy that we have in our food is really supported by the sun. And
that's correct.
yeah, and having that, it's not actually you as a cook right now, you are sharing to us some of the secrets how to prepare that, and you have shared to us how you also incorporate the mantras while you are preparing the food. So what do you think does the mantras does to the food while you are preparing it?
It's more for us, actually,
Yeah.
as people who have an understanding of what it means and who actually ha- have a direct effect from it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but we'd like to think that it's for the food, but they're
Mm-hmm.
done. They're like the food, basically it's there, it's sitting there, and it's perfection in itself. And then you turn it into something, you know, something good that will make people happy, or something, not so good, depending on one's skills, I suppose. Yeah.
Mm.
But it's us sort of
Trying.
accompanying the plant, the fruits, the vegetables, uh, giving it like a happy journey towards its final purpose, which is
Mhm.
to nourish the human body, or any body. Because
Okay, so
there are dogs who come to the restaurant sometimes,
mhm.
and they like to eat carrots and broccoli for some reason,
Yeah,
which is really surprising. We're like, "Oops, I'm sorry, this is the only thing we can give you because we don't eat meat here."
yeah,
But they eat it,
yeah.
and they keep coming back. So, all right, it's not just human bodies, apparently. Yeah. And also, the scraps, they go to the worms, and then the worms, they nourish our soil, and then the soil, they nourish the plants through the help of the sun, and then the
Mhm.
cycle goes on. And then the mantra helps us ground ourselves to that sort of understanding and that sort of insight. When
Mhm.
we chant mantras, uh, we're not really thinking about its underlying meaning a lot of the time. We just
Mm-hmm.
get lost in a trance. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people who don't chant don't
Mm-hmm.
there's something that they don't get
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, oh, but you don't understand what it means. Well, yes, we do, but you don't think about it all the time because you're repeating it so much. Unlike, let's say, somebody who's like praying using words. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so they say in contrast to that mantras, repeat it over and over again. But there is a special kind of insight that I gain when I chant. That when I sort of I lose myself for a bit, but kind of
Mm-hmm.
enter a
Aware.
different level of awareness. Some
Yes.
and a level of awareness where I'm not really thinking, but I'm just knowing. I'm just being
Mm-hmm.
aware.
Mm-hmm.
If if you've never had that experience, you're not gonna understand that.
Yeah.
And I like that I have that experience with the plants, with the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, those people who have experienced it, like you, when you're preparing food, can actually say that it's real. You know,
It's
it's happening. Yeah. And
it's hap-
sometimes other people who are looking at us from the outside is having this judgment or any,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, judging us from the outside what we are experiencing. Yeah. So
yeah.
coming from that angle of um, consciously preparing your food, where it come from and what energy that you're putting into it, so how does it manifest to to the one who consume it? How did you how do you see them when they um what are their what are their their take off after they have consumed their food, especially when they know that it's prepared in such kind of environment?
One of the things that I always get is it's good, it's great, and I'm full, but I'm not weak.
Wow.
Sometimes when you eat a lot because they eat a lot, they keep ordering and ordering, and I'm like, dude, you're eating too
Yeah.
much. But they're like, I don't care. Usually they're Caucasians, they're white people, and they're like they have more space
Mhm.
than us Asians
Yeah.
in there. So that's something that I don't have a personal experience of eating that much, but I get
Mhm.
it. And if I would eat that much in proportion to my body size, I would be. I mean, back when my few years of experiencing being a conventional Filipino eating
Mhm.
animal flesh, which I
Mhm.
am sorry about, you know, because I went through that. I went through a rebellious phase. I was raised
Mhm.
vegetarian by my parents, but when I was
Mhm.
in my teenage years, I decided to rebel for a bit before
Mhm.
coming back. And I remember if I ate too much, I would always be like, and I would sit there for a long time. I would say, okay, I was satisfied with my meal, but I'm not really happy because I'm
Mhm.
suffering. But
Mhm.
with my customers, with people who ate the food, the karmic conscious food that I gave them, they eat a lot and they get up and they're like, hey, thank you.
Mhm.
That was a great meal. I ate a lot. I probably ate too much, but I'm not weak. I
Mhm.
feel I could still do something right now. You
Yeah.
know, if they were some of the people who were eating were staying at the attached hostel that my restaurant was attached to, uh, and some of them would be sitting on a table and they'd be working for a company that's, let's say, for example, the company is in the United States or the United Kingdom or in Europe, and then they could still do the work. They'd be like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't have to take a 1 hour break. I could just go
Mhm.
on. I could do this, and that makes me so. It's such an honor. I'm
Yes.
doing.
Yes.
I feel like I'm doing some sort of service. That's why I call it karma yoga, which is
And it's
interesting because the food takes on a journey from bhakti yoga, the chanting, and then to the yoga service. Sorry, you were saying?
I was just saying that it's easy to connect to people with food, right? And
Yes. Yes.
so so the thing that you are doing, cooking for them, this karma conscious food is really nourishing, not only for their body but also for their entire being. They
Yes.
may they may not know it or not. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not something
Because
that a lot of people think of, you know. People think of soul food, spiritual
mm-hmm,
food as insights, which is true, as
mm-hmm,
insights, uh, or as spiritual practices. I
mm-hmm,
personally, I also consider the practice of bhakti yoga, of kirtan.
mm-hmm,
It's spiritual food, but
mm-hmm.
physical food, like the food on the table, can also be spiritual food in that sense if it helps you elevate your. It's a spiritual practice,
Yes,
because it
yes.
gives you good karma by eating it. It makes
Mm-hmm.
you happy, and if you're happy, you're then able to do good things for yourself and for others, and that's spiritual practice in itself, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah. Actually, one of my guests last time he mentioned um, any material things in this world, like for example, food, when it's actually attached or attached with spiritual practices, it becomes spiritualized.
That
So
is true.
yeah. So from the point of view of yoga, yoga has been the the journey towards spiritual realizations. So all of those practices, the mantras that we have, those sound vibrations that we don't actually understand, but we know that they are very powerful. So what you are saying today is just an eye opener, actually, that how powerful mantra that it can affect our food. Okay, not only for the preparation, not only for the type of consciousness while you are preparing it, but actually how it is become spiritualized and nourishes those people who partake it. Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, that's why uh, some of the best meals that I have taken have
Mm-hmm.
been prasadams, because before the meal there is the factor of the bhakti yoga, the chanting, and
Mm-hmm.
it energizes. You're looking at the food sometimes, or sometimes it's not there, but it's in the vicinity, and it's being energized by the chanting, by the vibration, by the positive energy of it, by that spiritual practice. And then you're also energized, and then when you eat the food, you sort of connect, and then you're like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can actually relate to that. Did you had this experience that before i- myself relating to you is when I started to meet these people who have been preparing for karma conscious food, it is a simple sauteed, sitaw or string beans. But
yeah,
once you take it, there's something, the taste is something, there's something in there that even when you prepare it at home for yourself, it's different. Have you ever
oh
had
yeah,
this
oh
experience?
yeah, yes, yes. It's like this is supposed to be ordinary. It just has, you know,
Yes.
some soy sauce, some salt, some
Yeah.
ginger, uh, but it's special. It's like
Yep. Mhm.
it's a different kind of deliciousness.
Yep.
You know, it's
Yep.
it's a
It's
higher form of deliciousness. It's weird, but it's happy.
it's a kind of taste of that inner happiness that we are craving, and then some taste of it's like looking from the glass of honey, and then we're able to take some point of it, and then now we are experiencing how it is like.
Hmm.
So it's like also in the taking that food. Do you agree with me?
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Oh,
I'm actually salivating right now talking to you because a lot of a lot inside my head is about food. Okay, going Yeah, I can imagine the first time you handed me those masala during the yoga day, and it's really good. Yeah,
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
now you're reminding me how it was prepared, and now I'm starving.
With a lot of dancing.
Yes. So so basically, what you are saying, that all of these things that we are preparing is not just because we are happy preparing it, and we can prepare any type of food. Yeah. So,
Yes.
and then there should be, considering all those spiritual practices or spiritual um, rituals. Can you say that rituals? I don't want to say that rituals, because it is something that we put into our food, that we are aware how to prepare it, right?
Yes.
So so how do you see yourself going forward from this? Do you think you will stop from doing it, or what it is for
Oh
Ludwig to prepare food in the future?
no, I don't think I'm ever gonna stop. Right now the restaurant is on a hiatus because I still have the space. It's there, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not running a physical restaurant because I'm not allowed to right
Mm-hmm.
now. Yeah, because it's very rustic, it's very open, and they want me to close it, in the sense that they want me to put some rigid walls and some barricades, and I'm like, okay, I understand the reason behind this,
Mm-hmm.
but I would rather not do it because it takes the soul away from what I'm doing. It's a
Yes, yes.
community. I want
Yeah.
it to be a community when it opens. So I have been on hiatus right now. I've been doing some special catering jobs here and there,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is okay. But I have the space,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just waiting
Mm-hmm.
for all this the craziness brought about by the pandemic, which is probably another karmic consequence of the things that we do in life and on this earth and to the planet. I'm talking about maybe eating
Yeah.
animals.
A
So
collaborative karma that we are reaping now.
yeah, we're like, this is it. This is our collective karma
Yeah.
saying, hey, I want payment for the things that you've been doing. So yeah, my space is still there. It's ready. Whenever I'm allowed to open, I'm gonna jump at the opportunity, and I don't think I can see myself really uh, taking on another serious profession.
Mm.
Yeah, even my friends, my family, they say, I've never seen you as passionate as when you were
Wow.
working in the restaurant. I've never seen you as happy. I've explored a lot of jobs in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been teaching, I've been doing, nonprofit work, I've been writing, and yes, I would admit that I'm pretty good at those other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I would get tired, and I would complain, and I would say, oh God, I'm not gonna do this today. Can I do
Mm-hmm.
this tomorrow? Can I do this later? But when I was running the restaurant, no matter how seemingly exhausted I was, I would always get up the next day and I would say, oh, let's go to the market, let's buy vegetables, and oh, let's go to the restaurant, let's cook the
Mm-hmm.
whole night. And then I would be smiling. And then a friend of mine, uh, pointed this out. And then I didn't really realize it until then. And I was like, wow, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. This is where my heart is. And uh, so I decided, okay, no matter how much the tides shift, I'm always going to come back to doing this because I love it. And
Mm-hmm.
there has to be that factor. There has to be love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell us the story, how you had this feeding program? Because you mentioned me when I invited you, that you have reached
Uh,
out some programs. Can you
oh,
share those
it's
stories?
it's not a feeding program. It's
Mm-hmm.
a relief program. So we do it in collaboration with Plastic Free Bohol. It's another
Mm.
organization that is also run by vegetarians, by the way.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh, so what they have done, the prime movers of Plastic Free Bohol, my dear friends, uh, Siba and
Mm. Mhm.
Jamie. So they have pooled some resources from their friends in Europe, particularly in Belgium. They have
Wow.
pulled some financial resources, saying, we because they live in a rather rural community in the town of Panglao here in Bohol, and they, as people of privilege, they get to eat, whatever they want. But they
Mhm.
see that the people around them are not really enjoying the same kind of privilege.
Yeah.
And we also see that we also acknowledge that food is a right
Mhm.
for everyone, not shouldn't be a privilege. So they weren't feeling too good about being able to eat and their neighbors not. So they said, we want to do this to help.
Mhm.
So every week now since July, yeah,
Yeah.
August, early August or late July, every
Mhm.
week we've been giving out rice and vegetables to, you know, communities. We started out giving just 2 kilos to 20 families, and now we
Mhm.
always, you know, we came to the realization that, we are an Asian community. We love our rice. So
Yeah.
let's cut down on the other things that are not considered staples. And now we give like minimum 5 kilos of rice plus vegetables. And sometimes we do like 50 families a week.
So
So
this is raw. You're giving
uh,
it raw.
we're
You're
giving
giving.
it raw because they should, we're like, okay, it's less labor intensive for us. We're only six
Mhm.
people.
I see.
We're only
Okay.
6 people, and we're all vegetarian. That's an honor for me to say. Uh, so we give them rice, and that's the very important thing, and vegetables. Before, when we started, we partnered with the hostel that I was attached to,
Mhm.
uh, and uh, they gave out dried fish because I wasn't really involved in the project back then. They gave out dried fish because the community, they were asking for that. But when we took over Plastic Free Hall, and when I
Mhm.
also came into the fore, we collectively decided that we don't really support that. So why are we giving it out? Even if
Mhm.
they're asking for it,
Mhm.
well, it's not it's not their decision. But what would they rather have? Would they rather have fish, or they rather have more rice, which is the staple? And then we decided, okay, just rice and vegetables, and it's been really, really good. So yeah, we've been having a lot of great feedback. It's also an exercise in karma yoga for us because it's a yoga of service.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a different
Okay.
kind of yoga practice.
Yeah. That's actually one of the things that very amazing when you are into the path of yoga, right? That after you have realized something for yourself, you are ready to reach out for other people in the name of service.
That is
Yeah.
true. Very,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah, in whatever ways that you can, that you can. So for you, you are in food. For me, I'm into yoga exercises, and we are in the same boat. We are in
We
the
are in
same
the same boat. It's
same
just
boat.
same. What did Patanjali say? It's the different arms of
Mm,
the
but-
same creature,
yeah.
the same being, not creature.
Okay. So I want to know for the last time that if there are anyone in our viewers who are watching right now that they want to be a to adhere this kind of lifestyle, being a vegetarian, being a plant-based eater, what can you suggest, or what can you give what tips can you give to them so that they can start?
Oh, oof. So for me, uh, it was much easier because my parents, raised me to be like this.
Mhm.
Uh, and the biggest consideration that uh, I have, and also I'm also proud to say it's an
Mhm.
honor to say that uh, I have also influenced a friend of mine who used to not eat vegetables. She did not eat vegetables, and now she's a vegetarian, and she
Mhm.
puts a lot of credit into her uh, vegetarian lifestyle. On he credits the she credits the restaurant, which is
Mhm.
great. But first, it's just eating delicious food, and then you get into the whys and the
Mhm.
hows. And the
Mhm.
first why to consider is uh, why do I need to kill, or do I
Mhm.
need to kill in
Mhm.
order to be able to live? And
Mhm.
then she came to the realization that there's really no argument against a compassionate way of living, against vegetarianism and veganism. There's no argument against it except for the idea that
Mhm.
meat tastes good because it's what their palates, it's what their mouths have been used to for the longest time. So they say, oh, this tastes good. And that's the only reason why they were still doing it. But when she realized, when a lot of people realized, in fact, not just her, a lot of people realized that you can cook plant-based food, vegetables, and you can allow them to mimic the taste of the animal-based food that you were used to without having to use animal-based food, then there's
Mhm.
just no reason to go back.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's a great transitional process for a lot of vegetarians and vegans to be eating like analog meat, like pretend meat, fake meat. And we have a lot of help in that regard from our Taiwanese friends who are amazing at making fake meat. And it's
Yeah.
great because it's like, okay, this is a taste that I'm used to, but it doesn't involve the horrible process of having to take the life of another living sentient being. And
Mm.
to me, that's always an important thing to consider when you begin the journey of being a vegetarian or a vegan. Take into consideration, you know, what life, if any, has been taken in order to produce the goodness that it is that you are facing in front of you. Is it
Exactly.
worth somebody's entire existence, you know, for your 20 minutes of happiness on your plate? Is it really worth it?
Yeah.
Is it worth somebody, screaming for their lives, begging for you to stop just so you can have 20 minutes of pleasure? Or you can subsist entirely on plants. They're non sentient beings, they don't have a central nervous system. When you cut off a plant, it's not going to scream because it doesn't feel pain. Animals do, plants don't. Some people try to have an argument with me. They say, but plants have
Mm.
feelings, plants are alive, but they don't have a central nervous system. They're not sentient.
They don't
They
have
can't,
emotion.
they don't have emotion, they can't complain.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so
That
it's
is very
just
powerful.
consider, I always like to consider the teachings of the Lord Buddha.
Mm.
Ahimsa, he was big on that.
Mm.
Ahimsa, non-violence, non-harm.
Yeah.
How can I live following this principle the best that I can? So not to harm sentient beings is a really good start for that, for anybody.
Yeah. That's very powerful. Um, Actually, some people don't realize that by simple adhering of those eating eating not animal produced food are really impacting to the larger scale in our society. That by your own effort of trying to have some clean eating, you are contributing something to the world. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, in a sense that you diminish, first and foremost, like in a spiritual sense, you diminish the collective bad karma of the world, and
Mm-hmm.
also in a more immediate sense, animal
Yeah.
agriculture is one of the largest contributors to greenhouse gases.
Exactly.
Yeah, so by saying no to that, you're effectively saying making a conscious decision to allow our common home, our planet, our earth, our one precious earth to be more, to be livable a little bit longer for the people
Yeah.
who are not here yet, who will come
Mm-hmm.
after us. Which is interesting to say that way because that's a very secular perspective, no? If I say to the future generations who are not us, but in if in a spiritual sense, that's still
Mm-hmm.
us.
Yes.
Yeah, that's still us. We're gonna come back after we're gone. It's us reaping our karma.
Yeah.
Whatever we do now, we're gonna experience that later.
Well, I guess some people will have a mind blowing with what you are saying right
Yeah.
now, having that no foundation. That in a yoga philosophy, the basic foundation of the existence of the spirit soul that is inhibiting in the body, and it is continually um, having that journey of life and death. So for some people with different spiritual background and exposed to certain kind of beliefs, they will have a hard time grasping mind blowing thing. So, from in our own perspective and talking this crucial matters and bringing it into the open, it's what it is. It
This
you
is what
may
it is. Yeah.
yeah, you may believe it or not, but you will see the manifestations of your actions, the manifestations of the karma around us, and
Right. Yeah.
so I think we have covered everything. Unless you have more to say about it.
Uh for now, not yet. Maybe one day I'll send you a text message and say, hey, I forgot to say this.
Well, we can cover a lot of topics in the future that I know you are very interested to share. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hope so. Let's see
So,
what happens. Yeah.
yeah. So it's been a pleasure to be with you right
Oh,
now.
it's
And
an absolute
we have been
pleasure.
talking this online. This could be one of those closet conversation that we can talk when we meet. But now
Yeah.
we're opening it to everybody and having
Yeah.
them that that idea why we are so passionate with what we are doing, right? So
I
any final message or any shout out from your friends
oh
that you
yeah.
great? Yeah.
We're gonna meet. I think in a few days. But still, I would like to say hi to the people of Plastic Free Bahal, especially Jamie, Seb, and Farah, and Shan and Toby, and thank you for being awesome. They're my community in Panglao. So what we do as well is every weekend we would have like a community dinner where I would cook for them. Oh, so this is what's been keeping me sane while my restaurant has been on hiatus because I get to cook for them. I still feel like I have customers, but they're my friends. They're always
Mm,
gonna uh, be honest with me. So whenever, okay, so oh, this lacks a little bit of pepper, this lacks a little bit of salt, they're always gonna tell me, which is really great. But so far, the feedback has been amazing, which is really heartwarming. They help me uh, stay humble, which is really important.
yeah. To keep grounded. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I
anyway,
love this format because it's just like we're two friends having a conversation. That's
yes, yes.
awesome, and then we don't have to think of you know the fact that we don't have to be really necessarily conscious about the fact that a lot of people are watching us, but and that helps for me.
Yeah.
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 So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I put you. I actually invited you because I know that you have a lot of information to give, and for especially for those people who are very passionate to what they are doing, especially when it is for the betterment for the world. Yeah. So
Yes.
this platform is really for those people who want to voice out why they keep on moving what they are doing, and to keep them sane to all the things that is happening in the world. And I'm very happy that you have accepted this invitation.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a privilege. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love it. I love it. It's amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people and listening to some great insights in the succeeding shows that you're going to be doing. So
Yes.
uh, I'm going to be in the audience next time.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank
Ludwig,
you.
for being
Thank you,
here
Nafai.
with my
Thanks for
from the
having me.
bottom of my heart. Yeah, from the bottom of my heart, I would love to see you um, flourishing with your passion to feed more people with the karma conscious food.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope so too.
So that's it for now. See you again when I visit Bohol.
Thank you. Bye bye. Namaste.
Okay. Namaste. That's it, my friend. This afternoon we had a very good conversation with my friend Ludwig, how he shared all the things that you have to know about the karma conscious cooking. It's not just about the food that you are eating. It's not about how how the how you are happy by preparing the food, but where it came from, what are the participation of the people who prepared it and nourishes the food as you prepare it for people who will partake it. So thank you very much, Ludwig, for those information that you have given to us. So moving forward to our next segment. So these are the how you can practice Cobra in your daily asanas. Cobra is really teaching you how to work on your legs, your pelvis, and your belly, especially when you have the back bending poses. It actually gives you the correct alignment of your spine, and it teaches you how to have this comfort in your spine. And this pose is very, very good for your central nervous system, because your central nervous system is very connected to your spine. And of course, we know that your central nervous system is very connected to your emotion. So this simple pose is helping you to relax yourself and your emotions. And also, what is very good for this pose is it's good for your menstrual problems. So if you are having hard time, any discomfort during your red days, this pose is very good for you. And the way to do it is always move slowly and carefully. And if you have some conditions like pregnancy, rest problems, severe back problems, peptic ulcer, hernia, and thyroid problems, you should avoid practicing this Cobra, or to a certain level that you will not force yourself. And if you have some thyroid problems, okay, you cannot arch your head too much towards your back, that it is pressing the back of your neck. So I hope you learned something for today. And if you want to know more about how you can improve your yoga practices, how you can enhance your self-practice, if you love to do yoga, and if you want to increase and to have these techniques applied while you practice yoga in a deeper sense, you can just visit Philippine Yoga Academy, and then you can train with us. We also have some trainings, from personal trainings to becoming a yoga teacher. And becoming a yoga teacher not only because you want to teach to others, but for your personal practice as well, so that you can improve yourself when you do yoga by yourself. So that's it for now. Thank you for our guest for sharing all those insights about karma conscious cooking. And this is Nephi de la Serna. For now, all I can say is thank you very much for tuning in, and see you again in our next episode of Thursday Yoga Talk. Namaste to all, and good afternoon.
Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madana, Mohana. Govinda Rama, Govinda Rama, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madhana, Govana, Gopala, Govinda Rama, Madhana, Mohammed.